Welcome everyone to Tuesday Night Mental Wellness. I am your host this evening, Sarah Hine, and I am super excited and pumped to interview the beautiful, the talented, someone I've actually looked up to for a lot of years because she's just a successful executive. She's had a great career. I've always admired her from afar, and she doesn't know this, but I have. Amy Delmater. Amy, I'm so excited that you're here tonight. You have had this professional career for how many years have you been in your position?
30 years this summer it'll be. Yep. In the same company. Yeah.
So little side story of Amy. I worked for Amy's mom. Amy's mom is a beautiful, amazing story in itself. And I was there when Amy was graduating from Marquette University. Am I right on that?
Yeah, you're right.
It's all from memory. And she went to then work for the career that she had. And I remember being this young, like 19-year-old at the time going, wow, Amy is my role model. I want to be like Amy someday. And I watched her have this beautiful career. She has a beautiful daughter, Claire. She's just lived a very powerful life. And she's been a cheerleader for my husband when he was sick. And I know she sent many prayers for his behalf. And so I've just known Amy for years. And Amy, just a few months ago, you decided to make time for you. Yes. Time for you, self-care for you. You said some powerful things to me on a phone call. I know where we were. I know exactly where I was at that time because it was so powerful what you said. That if I don't do this now, when am I going to do it? And you took complete ownership to your health and your life. And you guys, she's had remarkable success in the GBX Fit Challenge. So Amy, without further ado, I want you to share what's happened in the last few months in your life.
Okay. Well, like you said, I kind of, with COVID, like everyone, I sat around, I worked from home and different things, but I definitely found myself gaining weight and definitely just kind of being blah as far as just kind of going through life and different things. So when you reached out again, and I know we've been on a couple of journeys in previous companies and different things, but then when you said, you're getting together a group with a new product, I decided to join the Fit Challenge. So definitely got on board with it. And I lost 50 pounds and 21 about total inches. So I was to say that it's amazing as far as there was, but I just kind of went in with both feet and just was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And so yeah, that was my result. Wow. I don't know yet if I'm a winner at all, but.
Okay. Time out.
Well, what the prize is, I guess.
I know, but 50 pounds, you guys, that's a lot. And how many inches? 20?
It's 20 some inches. Yeah, almost 21 inches with total weight loss like waist in particular was one of the largest, like 4 some inches in my waist. So to me, it really, really worked with that kind of overall bloat and I don't know, as you get older, when your waist around your waist and everything, that's a lot more. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Wow. What we're going to do is we're going to climb through the story. And for all of you watching, what we want to talk about is, Amy, what did you do? How did you do it? But also for people that have felt like they're stuck and they haven't had maybe the success that you've had. We're going to talk about that too. Okay. We're going to talk about it all tonight. So let's start with right before you got started with Amare. Tell us where you were at. How are you feeling? I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people.
Sure. Well, I was just kind of sluggish and I just felt very unmotivated and probably was spending a lot more time on the couch. I was watching TV more than I ever have. I've usually been more of a music type person than a TV person, but I just felt like I was kind of stuck in that it was like, get up, go to work, and you're still in your house all day, all night. And then just kind of do it over again. So it kind of felt very repetitive. And I was kind of questioning, like, is this really it? I mean, you go to milestone birthday of 50 and you don't get to celebrate, and, how many more years and you just retire. And so I was just very stuck, I would say. And just needed
Mm.
some motivation.
It's interesting that you say two words, stuck and feeling motivated. What surprises me is we have culturally been taught that it's weight, image. But for you, it was like you had no drive, you had no motivation. And I think that's what most people are really struggling with. COVID has been a 2-year-long journey. It's mind-blowing to think about how, in some ways, fast it went, in some ways slow it went, and how life-changing it's been. And I like to think I'm a silver lining person. I like to think that it's been an awakening experience. It has taught us so much, and it's made us realize that, yeah, we need to take ownership to our health, and sitting around isn't going to do it. So Amy, it's interesting that it wasn't just the weight, it was how you were feeling inside and the productivity level that you just weren't feeling.
And
is
the
it
aches
fair
and
to
pains.
say, yeah, for sure. The aches and pains, it's very lack of motivation means that aches and pains, exhaustion, bloat,
Definitely.
blah. And like you're watching other people fulfill their dreams on TV and you're like, it's great to be them and not you. And I remember you saying, that you didn't want this to be it for your life. Like, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? So for those of you out there, drop a 1 in the chat box if this is you, because listen, we celebrate you and we're all in different stages, and we're here tonight to give you hope. And that's never too late. Drop a 1 in the chat box if you are to that point in your life where you're like, I don't want any more years to go by with me feeling like this. Drop a 1. I'm just curious. Is there anybody in the house tonight? If you're watching the replay, still drop a 1, because this is for you tonight. Because I think most of America is where Amy was at just a few months ago. And the hope is that it was just a few months that you've had this transformation. So Amy, you made a decision. I think that's number 1. If you have at least one's going in the chat box. Number 1, you made a decision. So for those of you listening, it's time for you to make a decision. If you don't change where you're at, nothing's going to change. So Amy, you made some changes. Tell us about it. What did you do?
Well, I went in with both feet, so I was very regimented on the diet as far as following the protocol with the shake and then the smoothies and the dinner. But one of the biggest change that was probably the hardest for me was I had, over the course of time, developed a very bad Diet Coke habit. And so I was so used to having Diet Cokes and meetings and different things and going here and going there. And then when I was at home, I just could grab one. And so that was something that I really needed to break, especially because, my mom would send me things about brain tumors and aspartame and all this other good stuff, but also the fact that your body treats it like sugar. And so that really resonated with me as to, even though I wasn't drinking quote unquote sugar, that how my body possibly could be holding on to it and treating it as if I did. So I really transferred just to water. And honestly, the happy juice is one of the biggest things that I have found success with, because for me, I really liked that other beverage. I only drink Diet Coke and water. I don't really do milk. I don't do energy drink. I don't do any of that other kind of stuff. I don't do teas. So that really has helped replace it, but also with the cravings and different things like that has really helped as well.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about the Diet Coke. That's so interesting because it's diet. We think it's like fat-free and good for us, and it's so not. I love that your mom was sending you stuff. It's so true. Aspartame is like poison. It's like poison to us, and it's addictive. And so it's very, very hard. So let's talk about that. How did you get off of it? Did you cold turkey it? Like, what did you do? Like when you did when you stopped drinking the Diet Coke?
Well, so for the first week, I had to have one or two here and there, because I had such a
Okay.
headache. And then, I pretty much had a happy juice in the morning, and I just kind of tried to, I didn't have it in the house, and so it wasn't as accessible, but I would then, drink more water. And then whenever I felt like I needed something or wanted something different besides just water, I would drink it just a sip of happy juice. So my happy juice would last me almost all day based on that. And I just noticed that it was kind of a mind game, I think, more than anything, because of the fact
Yeah,
that it gave me something else besides the water.
absolutely. I'm reading Sandy Manis, who I adore, in the chat box that she had the Diet Coke habit too, and she doesn't have it anymore. And it's true. I love what you said. And I think this is very important for all of you listening. So what you did, Amy, is you started to wean off. You did
Mhm.
less and less. The happy juice started to replace I like to say the word replenish. It replenished the right
Mhm.
microbiome. Would you say that happy juice helped you like decrease that craving, and it made it a more, I don't want to say easy, but more doable way to wean off of Diet Coke, like a habit?
Absolutely. Like, um, in previous attempts, when I would try to get off of it, I was definitely more craving it, and
Right.
maybe obsessing about it a little bit, that I was
Yeah.
restricting myself. Whereas it didn't seem to be as restrictive, or I didn't have the same craving. So, I mean, that's one of the things the happy juice for me seems to have done wonders for sugar cravings and for motivation, I would say, as far as just,
Yeah.
um, feeling more peppy and wanting to move more so than just kind of sitting still.
No, I completely agree. I've had reports from people with smoking, chewing tobacco, soda, I mean, you name it, the cravings, whatever they were craving. And I'm hearing the same report, Amy, what you said at Diet Coke. They were able to wean off in a way where it was a different experience than they've ever had before. So for those of you listening, it's not just all or nothing. I love what Sandy just wrote. I quit smoking and Amari too. It's true. I've heard many people have stopped chewing tobacco, smoking, and this has helped them. And they've tried many things in the past, and they were able to wean faster and have a less that craving feeling. The
Mhm.
craving is amazing, and that craving comes from your gut bacteria, your microbiome. And when you reset that, it's amazing how it's like it silences that thought in your brain that I need this, and it silences it more. So, Amy, you finally have the tools to help you, and you had the complete mindset, and you were very faithful. I mean, that's what I
Mhm.
saw in you and heard from you.
Yep.
Would you say that you just had that faithfulness?
Yes, because I was finding success with it. So I kind of was on a path that I didn't want to veer too much, because I was like, I'm almost over that hump, as
Yeah.
to a month or so in, and oh wow, I'm losing weight, or I'm steadily going down, as well as I didn't even realize that I hadn't had a Diet Coke in 3 weeks, or and not even one. And so that's where, um I definitely saw or feel that it does something. So if that's what it is, the microbiome reprogramming my brain, it definitely, I feel, worked for that, for sure.
Wow. I mean, that's crazy. How do you feel now? I'm just curious. How
Oh,
are you feeling now? Like, how has this changed your life?
oh, sure. Much better. I mean, as far as I'm more active, and I've been, working out more. I mean, walking the dog every day besides getting up in the morning. I've been fluctuating lately, but I'm so definitely moving more, and or at night, not coming home and trying to just, not sitting down yet, so getting my stuff done, planning something. So definitely more active. And or we've golf season's gonna start, so got plans to do a lot
Yeah.
of that this year. So
Right, right. Do you
mhm.
feel like you have the desire to want to be active?
Oh, absolutely. And I used to be, as a kid and everything, and even in my 20s and whatever, And even when I was coaching Claire's, volleyball or basketball teams, I was on the court with them. And then, so now I'm like, I got to get back to that. And I enjoyed it. I had fun, while I was doing it. So,
Yeah, yeah. You know, what we're seeing here at Amare is it's almost like a reversal, that people that are in their
mhm,
30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I even have some stories of 90-year-olds, which is just amazing to me. It's almost like it's turning back, that resetting that gut health, and adding the right microbiome, the right gut bacteria. It's resetting that clock in the sense where it's giving them this youthfulness experience, because
mhm,
they can think again, they can feel again, and they feel motivated again. And what's interesting is it's not a math equation, and yet the pounds and the inches start to come off. And that's what's been very fascinating to me, is to help people through, whether it's most people that aren't healthy or want to be where they want to be, is it there's some form of an addiction. I mean, there's an addiction
mhm,
to caffeine, sugar. It's not always drugs. It's not always just smoking. It's many things, but it can be those things too. It's some like form of this like addictive pattern. And when we can break that, and so for you, it sounded like it was Diet Coke. It sounded like you had
yep,
like this, that was like your fix, and it wasn't helping you be healthy. So sorry guys, but the diet stuff made us not so healthy. And the fat free years in the 90s did not make us skinny people. It did not work. Like, look at America. It did not work. So when we look at those things, we realize, wow, there's something different out there. And Amy, you weren't calorie counting. You weren't like
mm-mm.
focused on all of that, correct?
No, I was not. And actually, I even had some pizza here and there as far as on a weekend night or anything like that. All I honestly, I really focused on was my eating in that 8 hours. And so, sometimes, I was healthier as far as I was making more healthy choices, as well as meal planning better. But yet when you only cook one meal out of a day, it really, isn't as daunting as when I was working from home every day and I had to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Whereas I used to be a person that went to my cafeteria at work and I got breakfast and lunch, and whatever they cooked, I ate, kind of a deal. But so the smoothie actually has been very efficient for me as far as making it. And I even took a blender to work, or a NutriBullet to work, so I could make a smoothie for lunch, because it's quick and on the go and you can do meetings and whatever. And it satisfies me and I get to get through the day.
Okay, no, I love that Amy just brought that up, because listen, she's humble. And so I'm just going to talk her up here because that's my
Yeah.
job, because, well, I know that she's, but Amy, you have a high, like I would call it a high profile executive position. You're on the
Mhm.
go. You're not somebody that normally sits around anyway. She's not eating bonbons and drinking wine off her couch. Let me tell you, she's not. And you were able to do this in a high profile corporate position where you're constantly dealing with people, constantly on the go, constantly decision making, constantly be called in a million different directions. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. And
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Story of
it,
my life, girl. It's my life, just describe my own life. It's true. And I want that to be, whether you are a construction worker, whether you drive a semi truck, all of you guys matter. We love you. We thank you. Whether you're a police officer, whether you're a corporate executive, whether you're a teacher, whether you're an at-home mom, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter. We love all of those jobs, but what does matter is that this is doable. And the intermittent fasting, the free guide that we have, programs and gives you like, hey, just do this, follow this, and it gives freedom. It gives freedom.
mhm.
So I love what you said, Amy. I could have a piece of pizza when I wanted to have a piece of pizza. It doesn't mean you go and eat McDonald's every day. That's not what that means. But
No.
Amy, did you feel when you did eat those kind of things, you just tended to be like, I had some bites, you were satisfied? I mean, tell us that experience. What was that like in that freedom time when you ate whatever you wanted to?
Sure. That's where I think that happy juice and the cravings, it wasn't, I only had like 2 squares or just a little bit compared to if you get a, you normal sit down, have 3, 4 pieces or whatever that just automatically go down. I wasn't as hungry. So the meals that even if I was having what would be considered maybe not the healthiest, or, just quinoa with vegetables and something, um, it wasn't like I was overeating. And so,
Yeah.
whether it was a microbiome and everything for the cravings, I'm not sure, but it got satisfied a lot quicker than what it was. But I also felt more sluggish afterwards, you would notice. So it wasn't like I wanted to repeat it frequently, I guess, where it didn't give me the same satisfaction as maybe it once had, or I thought it had
Mm.
anyway.
Yeah, your body was starting to understand and feel what it
Mhm.
felt like to feel good. And when you feel good, you're like, yeah, I really don't want that feeling anymore. I want this feeling. So you followed the program of intermittent fasting, but part of intermittent fasting, which I have known about for years, experienced and tried, it's challenging because a lot of people have blood sugar drops. They have blood sugar issues, and the GBX protein that we have is absolutely amazing. I know Laura Evans just posted how important the
Mhm.
protein is and how much it's helped. Susan just wrote that as well. She said that an elite athlete told her that she was so impressed with our GBX protein because it was so clean and tastes so good. And part of getting through intermittent fasting, which is not eating for a certain period of time, and then eating during, so 16 hours of the day, 12 to 16 hours of the day, you don't eat. And then for, 8 to 12 hours ish, you eat during the day. But many people, that's hard. I have a husband who has a rare disease. It's very challenging for him. When his blood sugar levels drop, it exacerbates all his symptoms. And a lot of people, it creates this hypoglycemia feeling. So they feel shaky, kind of nauseous. They don't feel good. They have low energy. Our protein really levels those blood sugar levels. And so for those of you that are listening, it's super important to do the protein with the GBX Fit program. I think it's honestly essential. Personally, I recommend it for everybody. Amy, what was your experience like? I know you didn't do it without it, but obviously your experience with following I mean, you followed the program just as it is written. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, for the most part. But there was time where I was out of protein powder because I would make like a
Mhm.
smoothie for my fiance or my daughter, because I think the protein is very good because of the no soy factor. So my daughter is allergic to soy. So that was like the first one that wasn't whey only that she could really have. But I liked the protein because I think the flavor is so much better. I had a few other older ones that different brands that I would substitute here and there, but I felt fuller on the GBX, as well as to me, the taste wasn't as gritty as some of the other
Right.
brands that I had from a previous brand until I got my package, which I got just yesterday. Now I'm like, oh, thank goodness I have the GBX, because it tasted so much better, even though it's not my favorite. I don't mind it in the smoothie, but I chug it in the morning because it's not my, you know.
Right. Right. Some people put it in their coffee. I will once in a while have a coffee. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but I'll have a coffee with it. I love our protein because it's non-GMO. It's
Mhm.
gluten, dairy, soy free. It's just very creamy tasting. It blends very nicely with anything that you put it with. It's very child friendly. You can mix up peanut butter balls. We have great recipes for those of you in the chat box that are wondering, how do I get this guide? Where do I find this? Talk to the person that brought you here. They've got all the info that they will send to you. The clean ingredients is what's so beautiful. For those of you that are very into nutrition, have studied nutrition, I love people that have that background because they look at it and they're impressed that it's that clean. For those of you that you're new and you're like, I don't know what's clean. All I can say is it's clean. It's clean ingredients and it gives great results. Amy, what I want to talk about the last few minutes that we have together is, first of all, not everybody has the experience that you have. And I really want to
Mhm.
talk about that. And I want to discuss why that is. And it's not that it's not working, it's that it's problem solving. And one of the things I've learned in business and in life and with my husband's own rare disease that he suffers from, life is about problem solving, and that you should never, ever, ever compare yourself to someone else's success. So first of all, for those of you that might be listening tonight that didn't have Amy's success that she had during this, trial period, we're going to talk to that. For those of you that are new, I want to give you a healthy expectation. So the first thing I want to point out with Amy is that Amy really made a very conscious decision that she was very faithful when she started this. And Amy, is that fair to say, like, you just took ownership and you just did it?
Yes. And then once I saw they posted some results, all of a sudden I was competitive with it. And I was like, I'll be darned, so that I kept going. It helped motivate me as well.
Yeah, and I definitely remember that about you. You definitely have a competitive spirit, which I love that about you. And you were very much a self-starter. Amy wasn't one of those people where I needed to be handheld. Like Amy just did it. She did it on her own. It's that simple of a program. It's all laid out for you. Just follow it. And it's that commitment. Amy, is there anything that you would say to somebody that might not be getting the results just from your own experience that you would speak to them on? Anything that comes to your mind?
I would say drink more water and to look at your exercise. So I know it doesn't say that it is completely pushing. You can walk and different things like that. But I did notice when I'd walk the dog, but then also go to the gym and do some of the other type exercises, whether it's weight bearing or whatever, that would help move the scale a lot quicker than if I just plain old, did nothing or not as much if I, maybe missed a few days or something with walking or anything like that. So that's just one thing I noticed. But definitely drink more water because I think that has some sort of component in it. And in my brain, I was believing that's how you got rid of the fat. So that's why I was like, all right, I'm drinking more water.
Right. The eat, sleep, move part of the program is essential. So for those of you where you feel like you might plateau or you feel like you might get stuck, you want to first evaluate how are you eating? When are you eating? Like what time of the day? Are you staying faithful to that? Are you sleeping good? And are you moving? Always reevaluate. The other thing that I Amy, feel very, and this is for you in the future, is that we're all going to go through these periods of life where things happen. Our work stress, life stress, family stress, environmental stress plagues us. And we're going to have these seasons that are harder than others. And it's during those seasons of life that our cortisol, serotonin, and dopamine levels are disrupted. And it's been very interesting for me. I'm an observer, and it was very interesting to observe a lot of people that did the GBX Fit Challenge, where some had phenomenal results. Others felt a little bit like I had some results and then I kind of plateaued. But when I really deep dived and looked at their life, they were under a lot of stress. They had been under a lot of stress or were going through a lot of stress. And that's why I love this brand. I love Amari's. It's the first mental wellness company. And that's the root of why most people struggle with their health in general. And so if you feel like you've plateaued, or to prepare you, Amy, in a few months, God willing, life is great. But if something happens where life isn't great, or you're dealing with a lot at work, or I had a woman yesterday a couple of days ago, and she said she was feeling plateaued. And I said, well, are you under a lot of stress? And she's like, it's funny you say that. Next week I have to lay off. I'm in charge of a ton of people. I'm laying off every single person.
Yeah, that'll do it for you. You won't sleep either.
Right. And right. So, as a corporate executive, you know that. And so all of a sudden it hit her core. Like she'd never thought of that. She's like, I'm following everything. This isn't working. But then I asked the question, are you under stress? What's going on? And she's like, well, it's funny you say that. So I want all of you to really look at your life. And sometimes stress is just busy stress. You're a mom or a dad, you got kids, you got work. It's nothing bad, but you're go. We need to be aware of these things in our life, because these are things that change our serotonin, our dopamine, our cortisol, our GABA intake, everything. It changes everything. And so it will stop progress and plateau you. The good news is this: we have tools in the toolbox, nutritional tools to help your body replenish itself to get into more of a stress resiliency phase. So for those of you who in the future, or Amy in the future, so I'm going to pick on Amy in the future, because we want to teach a lifestyle change. This isn't a diet. This is a way of life to feed the right microbiome. Let's say in 2 months from now, Amy, I don't want to use the example that you're laying off people. I don't want to use that example. Let's just say, I don't know, you're just under stress. We're just going to say you're under a lot of stress. And all of a sudden, Amy, you feel this plateau. What I would make a recommendation to you is double up on your Mentabiotics and Happy Juice. Mentabiotics is like golden. It is the strain-specific microbiome bacteria that helps with that cortisol, serotonin, and dopamine. And that's going to help you during that stressful time that you don't put on more weight. And sometimes during those stressful times, you're running this big marathon, right? In your body, you're running this huge marathon dealing with the stress. And during that time, we want to help you when you don't gain weight. Hey, we'll take a plateau because you're not gaining weight, and we're going to get you through that period faster. And that's the key. So double up your Mentabiotics. Take extra mood. Maybe you're not taking sleep. A lot of people, when they follow intermittent fasting, feel like they are sleeping better. That's part of the benefits of it. But then they hit a stressful period, and all of a sudden they're not feeling like they're sleeping good. We have a sleep product to help with that. So we want to teach you to listen to your body and to prepare you, Amy, as you move forward into this journey where we want to keep all this weight off. We want to help you continue to have future success, but you have a high profile job. You have a busy, successful career that is very demanding, and that's challenging. And so how do you maintain self-care and your health during those times of plateauing? And so listen, if that's you listening, it's not that it's not working. It's, my gosh, if you didn't have it, what you're all going through could be so much worse off. Amy, do you have any thoughts on that? When I say that to you, tell us your thoughts.
It makes sense, I guess. And I definitely would agree with you as far as, obviously there's been moments and different things where when you're stressed, your body's like, you're just tense and mentally fatigued, right? And so it makes sense that the antibiotics and everything would help with that. So I guess that's all I would say without knowing too much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think we need to be realistic. Never compare your success with someone else's, because, you know, Amy, when you think of the most stressful time in your life, we've all had those stressful periods of time. Can you imagine having started this? Perhaps you wouldn't have had the success you had. It would have been more of like, I got to get through the season. And that's what we need to be aware of, because otherwise we start comparing and then we think, oh, this isn't working for me. And listen, gut health matters for all of us. And if we don't have our gut health connected to our brain health, it's going to affect us one way or another. And I've been in nutrition for a lot of years. I'm very passionate about it. And when I hit a really stressful period in my life, Amy, with my husband's illness, it didn't matter what I ate and how healthy I ate, all the supplements I took, I couldn't help myself anymore. And it was because of the extreme stress I was under, and I wasn't absorbing, and I didn't know how to help myself. And now I do. And that's why I love to prepare, Amy, those that are listening that might be going through that, or to at least educate them for when you go through that. So Amy, now when you have a stressful week or month or day, now you can go take extra mood. You can double up on Happy Juice. And then instead of being angry about something or sad or frustrated or overwhelmed for like days, we're going to help you, Amy, moving forward, have it be moments, fleeting moments. We're going to help you keep this off and continue this forward. And Amy, no pressure here. I just know your competitive spirit. I see you in the near future where you're like, hey, Sarah, 6 months out from today, I'd like to see where you are 6 months out from today. I'm doing this and this and this. And I've also had this and this and this happen. But Sarah, I am like, I'm living. And I'm Amy, I've been on this for 4 years, and I constantly look, even though sometimes the stressful days I have, Amy, I'm feeling as I'm aging, it's like kind of reversing. It's
Oh, I
beautiful.
joke that I feel like I'm 20 years younger, and that alone
Yeah.
would help or sell a lot of product.
You know what? Drop a 100 in the chat box if you would like to feel like you're in your 20s again. Like just to feel, that motivation is a big word. And like you want to do stuff and you can think more clearly. Amy, did the brain fog lift? I'm just curious.
A little bit. I guess I didn't have as much brain fog as I just did kind of like it didn't have that feeling. I guess, I wasn't forgetting things and things like that.
Yeah.
So that wasn't one of the symptoms or what that I had. But I do notice that I am very productive during the day when I'm working,
Mm.
to where I feel, I'm getting things done and then I'm waiting for a lot of people now to get their kind of stuff done that I wouldn't say was there before. So,
Okay, I love that you just said that. It's that productivity because I always say what I accomplished in a 22-year career, I blew past in a year and a half. And
mhm.
the only way I can say that is I had the drive, the motivation, the clarity. I could make quick decisions. And I realized looking back, I couldn't do that before. I second guessed myself. I just felt overwhelmed. And now it's like, get it done, do it, move
Yeah.
on. And it was amazing. So I love what's in the chat box. Melissa saying that her brain fog lifted for her and it was huge and the mental clarity. Exactly. I mean, it's not
Mhm.
just the weight loss. So
Yeah.
many times over the years, all these different programs out there, people would lose weight. They would obviously gain it back, but most of the time they were miserable. They didn't have the drive and that mental clarity. And that's the difference is that when you restore the gut and brain connection, that's what you get. Andrea says she feels 25 years younger. Right. I know. I mean, I
Yeah.
know it sounds like the fountain of youth, but it kind of is.
It
I
kind
don't know
of
how else
is
to
it,
say it.
well, mentally, right? It is. But I guess I did see one chat in there. I did want to just address Sarah real quick for you.
Yeah.
Is one of them asked about cravings and did I have a hard time
Yeah.
with hunger and different things? I can honestly say to start off 10:30 to noon is the time period where my brain was thinking I needed lunch or I needed food. So what I did with that is always got up and moved, and whether I was on a phone call or a conference call, whatever, I would pace or do something else to keep me over that hump. And it was amazing how many times if I tried to be more active while doing while also engaging my brain, that it just went like that. And all of a sudden it's 1 o'clock and I'm like, I can eat now. So I can say 10:30 to noon was sometimes a problem hours in there, just an hour and a half,
Yeah.
which I didn't think was too bad, but I also drank more water than to distract myself.
I'm glad that you addressed that. Thank you so much for
Hmm.
addressing that question. You are going to go through the periods. It's not always going to be easy.
Yeah.
You're resetting the brain, you're resetting the gut. So drinking that water, getting that movement in during that time of like, I want to, eat something during that time. You're not supposed to eat something. It is a challenge at first, but Amy, would you say as time went by, did it get more of a routine for you? I don't want to say easier. Did it become more of a
More of a
routine?
routine for sure. But I can say if I eat poorly the night before, I feel as if I get hungry earlier the next day versus if I eat a good
Mm,
meal, then I feel like I can last longer. So that's also a pattern that I did recognize within myself.
interesting. I absolutely love that you said that because when you start to recognize when I eat like crap, I don't feel as good the next day. If it did that for you, Amy, think about all these kids out there. We
Mm-hmm.
wonder why they're off the walls at school and they're struggling like they are. Tammy says, when doing the IF, does that mean no happy juice either or vitamins? Oh, that's a really great question, Tammy. And I definitely want to address that. So during the intermittent fasting period, you can do happy juice and your vitamins in the morning. You can also do that one scoop of protein or some protein balls. We have some great recipes. We have a lot of men out there that do CrossFit or a lot of working out or construction workers. And you can do a recipe with our protein balls that Dr. Sean gave us that it will not take you out of intermittent fasting. Now, with that, if you do your vitamins in the morning, just be mindful. For some people, if you're, doing it on an empty stomach, it might make you feel a little nauseous. For some people, it does not. So what I would say is, if you're not sure, do your happy juice, your scoop of protein, for sure. And then maybe take some of your vitamins to start, and then do the second batch of your vitamins, depending on how many you take, when you do your shake, or when you do your lunch, which is like your breakfast at noon, or whatever time that is that you're doing. I personally alter it. Some days I take it first thing in the morning. Some days, probably like Amy said, it's probably what I ate the night before. I just know now, I'm going to take my vitamins at noon when I start eating. So listen to your body. I've learned to really listen to my body. But that's a really good question. And those things will not take you out of intermittent fasting. All right. So listen, Amy, I want to respect your time and everyone's time listening. Great questions from our audience tonight live. We appreciate all of you. Listen, wherever you're at in life, it can't hurt you to start making some healthier changes. It's never too late, is it, Amy?
Nope, never too late. Definitely not.
It's never too late. Amy, you look amazing. And I can't wait. I get to see her live in just a couple of days. She's coming to my home. We're going to do some meetings together. It's going to be super fun. But Amy, I'm so proud of you. It inspires me. You inspired me to see you just take ownership. And I just feel like more of us do that, we're going to set a movement in place of us really taking ownership and showing the next generation the importance of that, and that what we eat matters, and that there's freedom. It's okay to once in a while have some treats, but to not live like that every day, and to really focus on resetting that gut brain connection. So listen, thank you so much. Make sure you talk to the person that brought you here tonight. They're going to give you all the guidance, the mentorship, the coaching. And Amy, any last words you want to just encourage people before we leave?
No, I guess just keep after it. I mean, really, it's like anything, like you say, it's a journey, and there's ups and there's downs. So consistency is the key, I guess, is what I kept thinking about, is if I consistently show up for myself, that it will come. So
I love that you said that. And we're going to leave on that note. Listen, if it's been a few weeks that you've had no changes, or a few months, just stay consistent. That is so the key. And talk to the person that's working with you to maybe make a few tweaks, depending on your lifestyle, what you're going through. Those few tweaks could be a huge difference for you. All right. Congratulations, Amy, on all your success. We salute you. We're so proud of you. And I can't wait to take some pictures with you soon at my farm, because I'm just going to show you off, girl, at just taking ownership of your health and what it can do. All right. God bless you all. I love you guys. Have a great night.
Bye.
Thank you, Amy. Bye-bye.
Bye.